In this video, we got another episode of the Start Bench Cut series. Basically, if you guys don't know what this series is, you guys will let me know 3 players on Twitter at X7Tanaka. I'll put out a tweet asking for 3 players, and then in the replies down below, you guys will let me know 3 players. So for example, Blasian's gonna say James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and the new 98 overall Moments Dame. And I'll tell him, I'll tell you guys and him which player I'd start, which player I'd bench, and then which player I would cut. So if you guys also want to let me know on the YouTube video down below in the comment section, let me know 3 different players, and I'll tell you guys who I would start, who I'd bench, and then who I would cut. But let's just get right into it here. First one, like I said, is going to be from Blasian, and he's going to say James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and the new 98 Dame. For me, I think James Harden and Russ are probably the 2 better point guards, even though I like that 98 overall Dame and think he's a lot better than the previous Dame cards. I think it's got to be between James Harden and Russell Westbrook, and that is a very close debate and something that really just comes down to playstyle and preference as well, because Harden's going to be more of the 3 hunter, the guy that can get up shots, and the guy that can shoot threes at a way higher level than Russell Westbrook. But Russ is going to be the way better rim runner and attacking the paint, getting and ones, dunk animation. So it really depends on your play style. I would say Russ, not height and wingspan wise, but defensive stats, he actually looks to be a little bit better of a defender. Obviously way better going to the rim. He's a little bit faster than Harden, a little bit better with the ball in his hands. So for me, in my play style, I do like a guy like Russell Westbrook better because he's so good at getting to the basket. I would say it's a very close debate. Like, I think, Russ is like on this level, and then James Harden is just like a little tiny bit below him. So they're basically on the same level, for point guards. I just think Russ is a little bit better for my play style. But if you guys like 3 hunting and that's all you want to do is just shoot threes and being able to 3 hunt, then you probably want to go with a guy like Harden. So that really comes down to preference. But for these 3 players, I would start Russell Westbrook, bench James Harden, and then cut the 98 overall Dame. He's not a bad point guard at all. That Dame card is actually very solid. We're just talking about 2 probably top 5 point guards in the game right now, with James Harden and Russell Westbrook. Next one here is going to be Ben, Magic, and Russ. I'm assuming he's talking about Russell Westbrook, not D'Lo, like D'Angelo Russell, but these are probably the top 3 point guards in the game before Dwayne Wade comes out. Now, you guys are probably seeing this after D-Wade dropped. I'm not exactly sure who's going to be a better point guard between Russ and D-Wade, but I would say currently at this moment of the time I'm recording this video, I do think these are the 3 best point guards in the game: Ben Simmons, Magic Johnson, and Russell Westbrook. And I feel like obviously Russ is going to have to get cut because Ben and Magic are just the 2 best point guards in the game. And honestly, I've said this multiple times and will continue to probably say it. It really just comes down to preference, not even like play style, because they basically do the same thing for you. But some people will say Magic, some people will say Ben Simmons. I honestly can't make my mind up. Like, at first I thought it was Ben Simmons, then I thought it was Magic, then it went back to Ben, now I'm kind of back to Magic. I'm all over the place with who I think is a better point guard. So for me, I think right now I'm saying Magic is better than Ben, but maybe in a week from now I'll say Ben Simmons is the better point guard. So for me, I'm all over the place with the cards. You guys can let me know who you would take at the point guard position, Magic Johnson or Ben Simmons. Right now I do think I'm gonna take Magic just because I feel like he's got the better jump shot and he moves a lot better on the offensive end, but Ben Simmons is probably the better defender and the better rebounder as well. Like I said, it's all preference, up to you guys, but for me, I'm gonna say start Magic Johnson, bench Ben Simmons, and then cut Russell Westbrook. Next one here is gonna be from RCA. He's gonna say Rondo, Ben Simmons, and Magic. I know he's kind of trolling with this because he actually really likes the Rondo card, and I believe he said Rondo's actually better than Ben Simmons, which I don't personally agree with. But hey, man, if you like using Rondo and you go crazy with him, then go crazy with him in Unlimited. But for this one, same thing, gotta be start Magic, bench Ben Simmons, and then cut Rondo. Rondo's actually super underrated. I will say he's actually not that bad of a point guard as I thought he was, but I just don't think he's on the same level as the 2 best point guards. Next one is going to be Zion Siakam, and Zion Siakam, PG, and Tatum. So we're going 4 players, I guess. Okay, so we're going 4 players. I think out of these 4, I'm gonna cut PG, and I think I'm gonna cut probably Tatum as well, because I think Zion and Siakam are just a little bit better than Tatum. I think Paul George is definitely the worst out of the 4, but this Siakam card, he has such good stats and badges, and he plays so well in game. It's just his jump shot that lets him down. Like, I still think I would probably bench him behind Zion Williamson, or maybe even start him over Zion, because he's just so elite on the defensive end. Like, he gets the craziest defensive animations. Like, he's so good at stopping people under the paint, and obviously really good on the perimeter. And then jump shot wise, like I said, it's on quick timing, so it's not a slow jump shot. It's just super hard to green, but I feel like if you do get used to it, it's actually not that bad of a release, especially in the catch and shoot. He's also got the normal leaner, so he can actually shoot those threes as well. So for me, I think I'm going to start probably Pascal Siakam, bench Zion, and then cut Tatum. I know that's kind of a little bit controversial putting Siakam over Tatum, or Siakam over Zion, but I just think he's a little bit more well-rounded than a guy like Siakam, or I think Siakam's a little bit more well-rounded than Zion. So for this one, I know it's 4 players, but I would start Siakam, bench Zion, and then cut Paul George, and cut Tatum as well. Next one is going to be basically the same thing. Denny at small forward, I just wouldn't recommend running him at small forward. He's just so much better at point guard, so going to be the same thing here. Start Siakam, bench Zion, and then cut Denny. I think Denny's actually a really good point guard, and I'm sure his name will probably come up a couple times in this video, but I just think he's way better point guard. Wouldn't really recommend running him at small forward. Next one is going to be Cedi Osman, Mikal Bridges, and Andrew Wiggins. So a little bit similar cards between Mikal Bridges and Andrew Wiggins. This is actually a very close one. I think for me, the standout guy is probably Mikal. I think this Mikal Bridges card is actually super nice on both sides of the ball. Like, he's a great defender, one of the best perimeter defenders in the game. Kind of wish he had a little bit higher of a block, but he is such a good 3-and-D shooting guard, has a great jump shot. He can even move a little bit. So I think for me, I'm probably going to start Mikal Bridges, and then between Wiggins and Cedi Osman, it really comes down to if you need more offense at your shooting guard position, or if you kind of want more of like the rim running ability and the defense with Wiggins. So for me, I would probably say start Mikal Bridges, bench Andrew Wiggins, and then cut Cedi Osman. But I think Cedi is actually super underrated at the shooting guard spot, and you could honestly make an argument he could start out of these three shooting guards. For me though, I'm gonna take Mikal Bridges starting just because of his defense and his jump shot as well. So for this one, like I said, start Mikal Bridges, bench Andrew Wiggins, and then cut Cedi Osman. This one's going to be very similar. Cedi Osman, Jaylen Brown, and Mikal. For me, once again, I think JB and Cedi could be a close debate. I think Jaylen Brown might be a little bit better. Honestly, I would say start Mikal Bridges once again, and then between Cedi and Jaylen Brown, I think that's a very close debate, maybe even a little bit closer than Andrew Wiggins. I'm almost tempted to say bench Cedi Osman because of his offense compared to a guy like Jaylen Brown, but that one I'm not 100% sure. So I'm gonna say start Mikal Bridges, and then these two guys really just depends kind of what you need at your shooting guard spot. Next one here though is going to be Pink Diamond Batum, Pink Diamond Giannis, and Pink Diamond Harrison Barnes. I'm assuming he means at the small forward position. Now Batum is still really good stats and badges wise. I have heard his jump shot really isn't the best, but he's 6'8" with a 7-foot wingspan, and all around he just gives you great play at that small forward position. His sigs are okay for a small forward. His jump shot, like I said, I haven't personally used it, but I've heard it's not very good. For me, I would say you're probably going to want to start Giannis, even though he might be a little bit outdated stats and badges wise. It's still going to be Giannis. He's still got that amazing player model, great defensive animations. So I'd start Giannis, bench Batum, and then cut Harrison Barnes. I think Barnes is not bad, but I would definitely take Batum over a guy like Harrison Barnes, especially for the defense. And he's just a more well-rounded card than Harrison, in my opinion. Next one is going to be KD, Siakam, and Tim Thomas. This one I feel like is fairly easy for me. It's going to be start Tim Thomas. I still think he's a top 3-5 small forward in the game, probably number 5 honestly, with Jaden McDaniels coming out, because that card's really good as well. Tim Thomas though, I would say is probably going to be starting. And then between Siakam and KD, I mean, I think Siakam is just the better well-rounded card. I mean, if you look at jump shot wise, you know, KD's definitely got the better release, but other than that, I mean, if we look at the stats and badges, I'm assuming Siakam's pretty much better at everything else. I mean, honestly, Siakam's not that much better stats wise, so maybe KD is the better small forward. I did not realize his stats were actually this close. Like, if we look at the animations, this is where KD's probably going to be. I mean, they're pretty much the same actually. They're very much the same. Siakam does have the Kobe escape, which is a little bit better than the KD escape. Badges wise, I mean, they're very similar as well. So honestly, I'm gonna say probably, I mean, he's got more defensive Hall of Fame badges, but yeah, I'm gonna say KD is probably actually better than Siakam. I do think it's a close debate, but you also got to remember KD does have a way better jump shot. So for me, I would start Tim Thomas, bench Kevin Durant, and then cut Pascal Siakam. We've kind of already done these players a lot, so I want to find one that we haven't done. We'll do this one: Luka, Drew, and Harden. For me, I think it's between Drew Holiday and Harden for who's going to start and who's going to get benched. Now, I will say about Luka Doncic is if you really like his release and you're really good at timing Luka's jump shot, then he probably could be starting or even coming off the bench. But in my opinion, I like his jump shot more than other people, but I don't think it's like an amazing jump shot to where he would start or be on the bench in these three players. So for me, I would say probably start James Harden, bench Drew Holiday, and then cut Luka Doncic. I just think Harden is so easy, and it's not so easy, but once you get used to the card, he's so fun and so good to use on the offensive end. Drew Holiday is more there for defense, but Drew's release just really lets him down. I feel like Drew and Siakam are very similar cards in the sense that they're amazing on the defensive end. They do everything at a very high level. It's just their jump shot really does let them down. So for this one, I would start James Harden, bench Drew Holiday, and then cut Luka Doncic. Next one is going to be probably, you know, 3 of the top shooting guards, maybe even the top 3 shooting guards in the game with Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, and Billy Knight. I mean, this one, obviously got to have T-Mac starting. I do think he's the best card in the game. I think it's close, obviously between Yao Ming and D-Rob and those cards, but at the shooting guard, I think he's easily the best shooting guard in the game. It's really no debate for me at the shooting guard spot. I think T-Mac is definitely going to be starting. Between Vince Carter and Billy Knight, that's where things get a little bit more complicated. I think Billy Knight probably is a little bit more well-rounded than a guy like Vince Carter, but I'd probably take Vince on the offensive end just for his driving dunk animations, and his ability to slash to the basket is probably going to be better than Billy Knight. I mean, they're basically the same, you know, height and wingspan wise. We look at the stats. Yeah, Billy looks to be, I mean, actually not even that much. Honestly, they're very similar stats and badges wise. If you look at the badge count, I mean, they're very similar there as well. I think it just really comes down to whose jump shot you like more. I think most people say Billy Knight's release is better, and then 666 wise, I mean, they're very similar once again. Honestly, I would say Billy Knight probably has the edge a little bit over Vince Carter. So for this one, I would say start Tracy McGrady, bench Billy Knight, and then cut Vince Carter. But I think Vince and Billy is a very, very close debate. I kind of want to find like a close one. I want to see if there's one that's like really, really close. I mean, this one's pretty obvious. It's just like start Bantam, bench Pippen, and then cut Siakam. Denny, Russ, or Drew. This one would be start Russ, bench Denny, and then cut Drew. I'll just kind of go quickly through them and not really give too much explanation, but just kind of tell you guys who I would start, who I'd bench, and then who I'd cut. This one, center, Yi, KG, and Chet. I would start KG, bench Chet, and then cut Yi. I just think Chet's a lot better than Yi at the center position. Westbrook, D, Mitch, and Dame. This one's actually close between Donovan Mitchell and Dame. I would definitely start Russell Westbrook. I think he's a lot better than a guy like Dame or Donovan Mitchell. Even though I like D-Mitch cards a lot, I just think you got to give it to Russ. He's so good at going to the basket and easily a top 5 point guard in the game right now. Between these two cards though, I mean, it is somewhat close of a debate. I would say probably the new Damian Lillard card, to be honest, because his animations are so much better. Not so much better, but they're definitely a little bit better with his jump shot being on very quick timing. So for this one, I would start Russell Westbrook, bench Dame, and then cut Donovan Mitchell. But yeah, guys, that's going to do it for another episode of the Start Bench Cut series. Like I said earlier, let me know in the comment section down below 3 different players in the YouTube comment section, and I'll let you guys know which player I'd start, which player I'd bench, and then which player I'd cut. But hopefully you guys did enjoy the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.